Okay, now let's check it out. Today I'll be creating a few more fields in my employees. Okay, this is a new custom object that we created for our earlier session, right? So what I'll do to add a new fields, where I should go to the object manager, isn't it? Object manager. And what is the object name for this my employees? Employee. So we made object name and tab name is little change. Employee, and we have a fields, right? Here we have a new field. I'll create a status field. Okay, I'll create a status. Status field is kind of a pick list, isn't it? Yeah, pick list. Status. Here we have two different things. Use global pick list value set. Enter values will each value separated by a new line. If I wanted to do like this, then I need to enter like active, and then this is the first value. Let's say that new joinee, right? And I need to enter this way. What I can do, if I want to create another status field with the same values, I will not able to reuse these values. I need to have other field with the same values populated, right? So to avoid such common issues, Salesforce provided a wonderful option called global value sets. So what does it mean? You can go to home in the setup, and you can say pick list value sets. Okay? Pick list value sets, and you can create a new global pick list. Here I'll say that employee status. Here I'll enter all my values. Let's say new joinee. What the spelling for joining? New join and rejoin, contract, subcontract, right? So these are the four fields that I added. And here we are saying whether the pick list value should use always first value as a default value, or you wanted to sort this order. You can enter any order, but based on alphabetically, it will sort it out if needed. But if I don't select any of this, then the order remains same the way I entered. Okay, save. So what we created? We created a pick list value set at a organization level. I mean at a global level. Okay. Now I'll go to my object manager. I'll look for my object called employee, and fields and relationship. Now I'll create a field called status. Let's look at the pick list again. And then next, status. And here I'll be able to access that field. If you have multiple fields, you have a more options, but we do not have a multiple. We have only one, so we can able to select employee status. This employee status is coming from where? Global pick list value sets, right? And do you want to make this field required? As I mentioned, we are not going to make any fields required going forward, because it will make a lot of concern for us to create a test data for our practices. So I'm just going it visible to all profiles. Next, I'm adding to a layout. Now let's go back and refresh these changes, and we can see whether this can be able to see or not. New. Oh, we got it, right? I wanted to add another field called is active checkbox. I wanted to add another field called is active. Okay. Is active means Boolean, isn't it? which is nothing but a checkbox. Is active. So by default I am making unchecked, okay? Or I will make checked by default. Checked in the sense whenever I am creating a new record, you can create only active persons, right? Why you will create inactive persons? Okay, so I made it as a checked or unchecked. Anything is fine. But here you need to understand there is no field required. Is field required concept. Why it is not provided? For Boolean, we have only two values, either checked or unchecked. Anything is a value, isn't it? Whether you mention it is required or not required, it always have a value in it. So there is no concept of required for a Boolean values. Okay, next, save. Now let's go it and close. Close. Okay, we got here. But I wanted to keep this active checkbox next to the employee ID. Okay, or just below the employee number, whatever. Where I need to modify that? Page layouts, employee layout, and then I need to pull down here. Okay, employee account name, employee status, employee email. It would be nice if I move like this, or it would be nice. Okay, yeah, this is good. Say, otherwise, let's say employee status. I'll add new section all the way. Employee status. I'll say is active, and I'll say status. I can have a new section also created. Refresh. Employee status, right? If the employee status is deactivated, I should only display inactive. Status is inactive. Let me add one more status called inactive. Where I need to add a value, if I want to add a new status, I need to add it from employee status only. I can add a new field, inactive. Add new links to the values. Yes, same. Now if I go ahead and refresh, one place to update all the references. That's the concept of global value pick list. You don't want to do it independently. Whenever I select active, then I should not display inactive. If I don't select checkbox, then I should only display active. Okay? Yeah. సో ఒక్క నిమిషం దానికి కూడా ఏంటంటే ఇట్స్ డిపెండ్స్ లెట్ మీ గో టు ద ఫీల్డ్స్ అండ్ వాట్ ఈస్ ద ఫీల్డ్ స్టేటస్ ఫీల్డ్ రైట్ హియర్ యూ హ్యావ్ థింగ్స్ ఇజంట్ ఇట్ సో we don't need to view employee set value set, right? If you want, you can deactivate it. Else, let me create a new field. Now, terminated. Okay. I'm not adding to a new pick list value set to result set. Now I'll go to my object manager. If I go to employee, okay, let me refresh here. Reload. I'm addressing your question through I'm just walking you through the steps. Terminated is added, right? But how this can be controlled? Generally, for businesses in a real world, we'll be having a record types. Let's say admin this is admin user, okay, just say this is an admin record type, mark available, and I'm just saying next, employee layout, that's the only one layout we have, right? Let's say if for this admin layout, for a status field, I don't need to see the terminated value. I can remove it from here. Even though it is added there, but I can control at a record type level. Now close, refresh. Now you don't see the terminated. Even though the terminated available in the global pick list, but which will not be available in this case. So to control, yes, it's possible. If you add it, it means that you don't want to display all values. It can be controlled. Now you see there is no terminated, right? Let me add it back to the record type. This is just a record type I created, but we can discuss more on record types later, okay? Just to make sure that you are clear enough like what is happening. Now what happened? What is the question that I had here? If I check, then I should display only these values. If I uncheck, then I should display only inactive and terminated, right? So I'm trying to say here, I'm looking at functionality based on one field, I should have ability to control about the other field, okay? So even though this is not something we need to invent, Salesforce is already provided, all we need to configure called field dependencies. What is that? Field dependencies is a concept where you can able to make fields are dependable. Here we need to select two different fields. One is controlling field, the other one is field dependencies, but not every field can be part of these field dependencies. Only the field types are Boolean, pick list, multi-select are being a part of field dependencies, okay? Boolean, pick list, multi-select. We have two types of things. One is pick list and pick list multi-select. Only three data types are allowed, okay? And the next one is standard fields cannot be a controlling fields. Standard fields cannot be a controlling fields. Clear? It's a field provided by a Salesforce and you can able to use in a controlling field, but not, sorry, I need to correct there. Standard fields can be only a controlling fields, cannot be a dependent fields. So you cannot control the standard fields as a dependable, okay? So in controlling fields, you can select is active. Based on this, I need to control status, right? But remember, if I select status here you cannot, because Boolean value cannot be a dependent field. Boolean field, I mean checkbox cannot be a dependent field. Understood this? Okay. Controlling field is active on status and vice versa is not possible. Because checkbox are nothing but a Boolean value cannot be a dependent field at any situation. Here I cannot select is active. Here I can select status, but here I cannot select is active. The reason behind, Boolean will have only two values, right? What is there to be controlled anymore? So only standard fields and Boolean values are part of controlling fields, but pick list and multi-select can be either controlling field or dependent field, okay? Is active, continue, I defined it, and now I need to map the values. Now for uncheck, whatever I need to map, only is active and terminated should be included, right? Include values. For check, I need to allow subcontract. And don't tell me, even I can select is active also. It's okay to select. This column is different from this column. So you don't need to worry, oh, I already selected, I should not be selecting, nothing like this. If you want to select, you can always select, okay? Exclude. So now for unchecked, I added two values. For checked, I values these values, right? Save. Let's go back, close this, refresh. New, Now field dependencies, view field dependencies. If I see, I selected contract. If I uncheck, then this becomes blank, right? Terminated and inactive, isn't it? If I select active, then the values are different. Now you can able to control a field values, right? Yep. You got it? Any question here around? Your voice is gone again. Okay. So let's get there like all. Let's say I just had employee ID. I need to have a columns also. Then what I need to do? Setting symbol. Edit list filters or display columns. Okay, 1 minute. Okay, here I'll not able to do new. Otherwise I'll do that clone. Copy of all records, all employees. All users can see this. Save. And here is the filter. All my employees instead of all my employees. Okay. And now here we have a concept called select fields to display. So employee name, employee email and account, and I should select is active. Now I can able to choose multiple fields here. At a glance I can able to understand what record is what, right? The one I am editing is called filter settings, nothing but a list view. This is called list views. It's as simple as that. Whatever you need, you can add a filter conditions, right? You can sort only active fields you need to display or inactive fields, and then you can continue. Clear? This is just like for you to access a quick records instead of you remembering or opening multiple times. The other thing we also have called validation rules. You can able to control the records creating for a first time. Let's say if I'm creating a new employee, if I'm not providing my email ID or name. Let's say if the email ID is provided for a first time, if user is trying to change the email, I should not allow him to change the email address once created. Okay. How can I do that? We can able to do that with a control validation rules. Okay. First, what are the conditions involved? Let's discuss about the conditions involved. If employee is creating for a first time, we should not throw any validation rule. User should able to successfully create the record. Okay. And for a second time, if user is trying to update email, then we should throw an error. What are the considerations that you do with your experience? Format by default Salesforce checks. We don't need to care about it because this is the email field. So the first thing we need to understand whether the record is creating for a first time or not, right? If it is the first time, we don't need to worry about validation rule. But the second time, we need to understand whether the record is being updated. I mean, it's being edited. And the second one, we need to check whether the old employee ID, old employee email and the current employee email is same or not, right? I mean, before edit and after edit employee value, whether it is changed or not changed, isn't it? We should know what is the old value before edit and what is the new value of after edit. And we should also know whether the record is part of being edit or not. So I hope you might remember the logical operators, right? And or not. What is and of 1, 1? 1 means true, right? And of true, true. And of true, true. When I say and of true, true. What is the outcome? True. And true, this one. True, right? Again. So either you can write in this way by adding ampersands, or you can also write this way in validation rules. I mean, true means here your condition 1 equal to 1, 2 equal to 3. What is the outcome? Right? So let me get into a validation rules. We have a concept called validation rule. Any changes to the object, validation rule will execute. Okay? New email alter regex. Email alter regex in the sense email updates regex, right? What is the first condition that we're thinking? Whether this record is being updated, right? That time only we need to throw a validation, isn't it? Yeah. For that, we have a concept called isNew. There is a function called isNew. What it is saying isNew checks if the record is new and returns true. Otherwise, it returns false. It means that whenever record is creating for a first time, then only it will return true. If it is not first time, then it will result false, right? I can select this. But when we need to fire a validation rule, when it is not new, it means that not of is new, right? You know the not functionality, isn't it? Not of true equal to false. When is new will be true? Whenever you are creating record for a first time. But when we need to throw error now, whenever you are updating, right? If it is written false, to make validation rule successfully executes, then it should be true value, right? So I'm saying, hey, execute this validation only if the new value is false. That is called not of is new. Not of true. What is the value of not of true? Not of false. Here we are getting not of false, right? Yeah, we are making it true. That's the first condition. What is the second condition that we are talking about? Pick list value or employee name, right? Employee email. So employee email, old employee email not equal to new employee email, right? This is called before update. This is called after update. If this is not equal to, both values not equal means they have been changed, isn't it? And it's a good sign for us through a validation rule, right? To get old employee name, what we should do? Salesforce again offers you value called prior value. Returns the previous value of the field. You got it? There is a concept called prior value. Prior value. What is the field? You can go to insert field. I don't want to type anything. Everything is by selecting choice. That's the beauty of Salesforce configurations. More mouse movements, less keyboard works. So you can see prior value, and if you don't mention anything, that's a current value. Right? So now I need to throw an error saying that you do not have access to change the employee email once created. And where you need to display this error? At a page level like here, or you need to display error like this. If you want to display at page level, you can leave top of the page, then it will display here. I mean top of the page doesn't mean the top of a page. It like here, and you will get a top. Here also you will get an error. If I want to display it as a specific field, I can select field. I can select the location of the error. Save. Right? Now let's me create an employee saying that pro. Validation rule is a backend process, right? It applies. It works at a database level. et@salesforce.com, and I'll say pro coding skills. Okay, format it is checking on its own, right? Say like a new joinee, I'll save it. Now if I try to edit, If I try to save, what happens? Whether it will save or it will not save? Yeah. Okay. Now, is it why? But the end of the day value remains same, right? You can see back for old value. You can see new value. Any difference? Now I deleted, I kept n, and again deleted, I kept n. It will only check the values at a final stage. It's not about the event, number of events got changed. If I say co, right? This is expected behavior. So while writing a validation rule, you need to write a validation rule for a wrong data capturings, not for a right data capturings. So in the validation rule, what we are doing, we are trying to capture a wrong data, right? This is a wrong data. This is not a valid scenario. So we are capturing those invalid scenarios as a validation rules to find a wrong data. Okay? But it depends upon how you want to do it. There are sometimes people says writing a good condition can be only one event. Okay? Providing a right information can be only one event. And providing a wrong information can have more than one event. So at that time what you will do, you will write a right value, you will just keep not at last. That's it. So if not this, then throw an error. You understood that? So it depends upon number of ways that user can able to create a wrong data. Whatever the ways is less, you need to write for that. And if you are writing on a positive data, you need to use a concept called not. If you are writing for a wrong data, you don't want to mention a not condition. Not of right data is a wrong data. If it is a wrong data, wrong data. Simple. Okay? Okay, likewise, try to write a validation rule on a status field on your own. Okay, you take whatever example, nothing wrong in that. Let's say whenever your user is creating for a first time, the status field should be new joining. If user is trying to update the record, then the status should be rejoining. If he updates second time, then he don't want to, validation rule should not fail. Understood this scenario? While creating new join, first time edit, rejoin, and third time edit, no validation rules. Clear? Okay. Cancel. I mean, let's say edit. Edit. If I try to save, it should say, hey, status should be updated to contractor or subcontractor. Okay. If I select as contractor and saved, if next time I'm editing, it should not throw any validation rule saying that you should select a status to contractor or subcontractor again. Yeah, for a first edit, That's a logic you need to think and you need to implement in a validation. It's not a complex one, but you find little challenging because there are one method that I didn't discuss. You can explore it. Reading a employee name is a straightforward thing, right? Employee email here. Employee email is just I represent employee name email directly. But for a pick list value, you should use a different function to read a value because it already have a value sets. In that value set, you should understand what is being selected, right? So for that, we have a different function available in the methods. If you want to know those methods, all you need to go to functions and try to read these syntaxes here. With this, you can able to understand what is what. There is a concept called eSpeakVal. Check whether the value of the pick list field is to a single literal or not. Okay. So there are functions available which you can check it out. So try to do on your own because you know how validation rule works now. Now you need to explore much how you can write a different validation rule. And I'm here to give a valid scenarios. That's it. Valid scenarios to practice, not to the project scenarios. Just to practice those concepts. Clear? So, whenever, let's say, I'll create one more field here. Let me create one more field in the account object, okay? I'll create one more field. Total number of total open positions or open positions. Total open array. I'm bad, sorry. Let me get into object first, and I'll be creating a fields and relationships, new, and I'll create a field called number, okay? Let's imagine account is a project. I'll say total open position, okay? So I'll say the total open positions, and I saved it, okay? So projects will have open positions, isn't it? And I'll say remaining positions. Remaining position is the formula field because we already have total employees. Total employees in the sense number of total records, nothing but a total project assignees we will be getting, right? So what is remaining positions you will get? Total positions minus total employees, right? Formula field. Next, RE remaining positions, and I'll say number, right? Next, decimal places. Do we need to decimal places in this case? Employees says 9. And then what we need? Insert fields, or you can click advanced formula. That's another beautiful way. Yeah, insert, and you can say total open positions, right? Minus total employees, right? And you can say treat blank fields as a zeros. I don't want to say blanks as a blanks. Number, it always good to have a zeros. Next, say, and I'll go to layout. I'll modify it, account layout, and I'll add a simple section straightforward way. I'll add a section, and I'll say section name is employee assignment, okay, and total employees, total open positions, total employees, and I'll say remaining positions. So I don't really like to have like this, but I need down. If I need it down, I can add a blank space at top, okay? Now it is looking good. Save. Now let's go back and refresh it. We'll check out the details. Details. I say the total position is 4. Okay, save. So how many remaining positions I have? So if I have 1, I should allow only employee to create only 1 employee under that account. If user tries to create more than another employee, 2 employees, then it should throw an error. So if the open position is not there, remaining positions are not there, then you should not allow user to create a new record on employee object, okay? How can I do that? Yes, validation rules. Employee. So let me go to, validation rules, my bad. New account open valid opening. So I'm just account have a valid opening or not. Now let's say account. I'll go to my employee. You have the small arrow mark, isn't it? Greater than symbol. This will give you a navigation to a parent object. And I'll say remaining positions. If the remaining positions greater than 0, or if the remaining position less than or equal to 0, then this is a wrong validation, right? Here we have not equal to, less than or equal. If the remaining position is less than or equal to 0, then you should say there are no open positions in this account assignment. I'll throw at a field of account level. Simple, right? Validation doesn't, whether it is looking complicated. Very simple one. But the functionality looks very great at end. Employee. Now I can create one more employee because we have only one open position, right? Testing. And I'll select pro coding skills. I'll say save. So what is the remaining positions now? It should be 0, right? Details. What happened? Okay, looks like we need to check something else. Object manager, account, fields and relationships, and total employees. Might be we had a filter condition. Total employees. What is the roll-up summary? Email not equal to null. Oh, this is my bad. You do not have access to change. Oh, my bad. So this is wrong, right? Email is not provided, so I need to correct the validation now. If the email is blank, I should allow employee to edit his email ID. Fields and relationships. Validation rules, right? Alter email alert. Edit. What I need to check? The old value should not equal to null, right? Old value. Otherwise, control set. Here we have is null. There is a concept called is null. And I'll just pause it. This will give a flexibility that if the old value is there, then only it will throw a validation. If the old value is not there, it will allow me to say. If I try to edit, then it will throw an error. There are no open positions in this account, but this is wrong. But the problem is that, is this a new account or old account? We need to add this validation also. Now what happening? It is checking a different validation error, right? Oh, 1 minute. This is blank. This is a text field is blank. Save. I should be getting 2 errors now. One minute. Something is not good. Is blank of prior email. Is row. Okay. I will be getting. If it is blank, I should not throw error. If it is not blank, then I need to throw error. Just a logical reasoning, nothing else. Technically, we should see 2 errors. It's okay getting a wrong error, but at least I should be getting error here, right? Because I modified the value com to com n. No, this is correct. Let's correct this. So how to correct this validation rule? Validation rule. If the record is updating, then I should throw an error, okay? account valid opening, edit, first condition, and okay, second condition. What is second condition here? Is change account ID field, is change account. This is our condition for me. Either this or 1 minute, is changed or 1 minute. If the account is blank and throwing in error, is changed. Okay, and prior value of account. If the account is changed, then throw an error. If the account is not changed, I don't need to throw an error. This is simple. I don't need a. Only when the account is changing, then I need to throw error, right? If the account is already created, if the account never throw, okay, comma. Let me save it. I should, yep. Now we should be having a 0. We need to think about multiple times the situation. That's it. Like it's not a rocket science. The methods are same, but we need to think all the possible questions again and again by asking ourselves. Remaining 0. Let me do one thing. My employees. Now we should be getting an error, isn't it? test@gmail.com, and I'll say account. Now I need to throw error, isn't it? What happened? Is changed equal to false. The problem here is that is changed will come whenever there is a new change. But in this situation, what happened? Is changed equal to false, right? So what we need to add? Or condition, comma, is new. Any of this, either if the account is changed or it is creating for a first time, Clear? Let me delete this record. Let me delete this odd record. I'll create new employee now. See, pro coding skills, save. There are no open portion in this assignment. Finally, we got it. So what is the difference? Is change will come whenever there is a change. But the problem is that for a first time you are creating a record, is change technically is a false, right? And of true comma, this might be true, but this results as a false. True comma false is false, outcome of un. How you can make that logically right? Hey, if this is a new record, then always throw an error if it is less than 0. Got it? It's more about the logical operators only, but concepts, you know what is change, and you know what is this, and is new we saw in the world rule.